Alright, this is GetYourRockOut. I'm here with Jimmy from Mindless Self Indulgence. So, how's the tour going, man?
We just started. Ask me in an hour and a half, and I will tell you how the tour is going. So far, the tour is all about sleeping in bunks.
Alright, well, right off the bat, is there a new album on the way?
One of these days, when I get my shit together, there will be a new album, and you will be the first to know.
Okay. Alright, well, Uppity Cracker is your own record label, and
Yes.
as I understand it, only one other band that isn't related to Mindless Self Indulgence has released something through that. That would be The O. Why them? And would you let any other band use your
No,
label?
I use it as I've been using it as my own sort of thing to license to other. We use it to take Mindless and license Mindless to bigger companies. That was the only reason to create it. The only reason that fucking stupid band was on it was because at the time our stupid fucking manager, a fucking dickhead, decided that was some band that he wanted to release through it. But they didn't do anything, so that's just, to me, that's just like like as if somebody did something and it was pointless, like there was no reason for that. So, but in general, the main focus of it and what we've used it for the entire time is whether we had an independent release, or whether we had a release with a major, or whether we had a release with a minor independent company. We always used it as just sort of, like, we own all the stuff, and it's on this independent record label, and then we license it to you. That way we were able to keep everything. We owned all the masters, we owned all the publishing, we owned everything, so it kept it in-house, you know what I mean? So it's more of a business venture thing, almost like a tax break.
Yeah. Has there ever been a situation couldn't you foresee a situation where you'd be watching a band that's kind of unknown and you think to yourself, wow, these guys are good, maybe someone should see them?
Not really, because I'm not really in the business of I'm more in the business of making music and less in the business of signing bands. I mean, I think people can, if someone's really, really good, someone will figure it out. And if I had the wherewithal to be able to bring them to the next level, that would be great. And I'm not like like a dicky manager or a dicky, record label or something where I'm so greedy I gotta have the money even if I don't have the facilities to facilitate it. I don't think it's fair if I saw like a really cool young band to be like, oh, I'm gonna make you a star when I can't fucking make them a star and then scoop some money off the side, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of shitty. I might, if I thought something was cool and I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, yeah, maybe if the demo came my way, I'd show it to somebody else, but that's about it. That's about as much of a conduit as I am. Other than that, like, I like to make the music that I want to make, and I want to make money making the music I make. You know what I mean? You go make the music you want to go make. I don't give a shit what you do.
Right. Okay, well, fewer bands out there are as creative as Mindless Self Indulgence. You've had a comic book out, various members releasing artworks or anything. Are there any non-musical creative endeavours coming in the near future that we can look forward to?
No, not off the top of my head. I mean, most of the last 3 years, there was a lot of creative endeavors that were on the side. I mean, like we had the comic book. Me and Steve did the Left Rights. I did the soundtrack to Lollipop Chainsaw, the video game that came out on Xbox and PlayStation. I did doing a side project with Serge from System of a Down called Fucktronic, and so I've spent the last 3 or so, 4 years doing all that sort of fun side project stuff, and then now this is sort of, we all kind of got together and we're like, hey, you want to go back out? We're like, yeah, let's go back out, it'd be fun. And so, we did USA, and then we're like, oh, okay, hey, let's bring it back to England, okay, and here we are.
No. So, there's nothing that you've always dreamed of doing, some kind of...
Oh, this shit I dream of doing all the fucking time. I mean, I got a list. It's like stuntman, voiceover cartoon, which I kind of did when I did Lollipop Chainsaw. Do a video game, which I definitely did when I did Lollipop Chainsaw. God, there's so many other ones. Be a chef, but a good chef, and I'm not very good, so I mean, that's not one's not gonna get fulfilled. But everybody else has this sort of like bucket list kid things where you want to do them that that are fun. And I got the Rockstar one off the fucking map. I think make a film would be a good one. I'd like to do that at some point.
Presumably where you do your own stunts.
Yes, that would be good. Then I can come. I like combining things. You get them off the
See,
list.
stuntman and chef intrigues me. Is that like
Stunt Chef?
Yeah, that's
my new show. It's called Stunt Chef.
like a famous chef or just a chef in a fancy
shit,
restaurant?
like just crazy. Like get some fucking wannabe chefs and put them in a room and give them knives and be okay. You have to kill each other, and the one that's left then has to cook a fucking falafel.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I have to ask you this: the Pink demos, which the ever-reliable Wikipedia describes as possibly non-existent. What's the deal with that?
They are existent, but I've just been holding on to them until I feel like it's time to put them out. And not even because of like, oh, I feel like they blah, 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 or anything arty. Just literally business. Like, sure, we're going to do this release now, we're going to do that release then. Like we redid Tighter. I think Tight needed to be released as Tighter because all the other records have been out for a long time and people kind of knew about them. Tight came out, it was only 5,000 copies, and then it became kind of this thing where it was being traded on eBay for like $200 a pop, and I was like, I'm not seeing any of that fucking money. So that's why we released it. Plus we had all these extra tracks and all this kind of cool stuff, and I was like, all right, cool. Whereas like Frankenstein Girls really is such an, like to me that's a great piece of art, because you'll never be able to fucking do that record again. Like nobody can do that record, and not because, oh, we're so fucking cool, but just they pumped, Elektra, the big major, pumped so much money into a bunch of people who do shit ass backwards, and we did shit. It's very, it reminds me of a lot is Beastie Boys' Paul's Boutique, which has so many samples in it that you could never, ever remake that record, and you wouldn't want to, because it would cost you probably $50 million to do that record now. Whereas then, it was pre the sampling laws. And same thing with Frankenstein, not necessarily with the sampling, but just with the amounts of money that were dropped, that they would give us money, and we'd be like, all right, let's master this record for 7 weeks for like $100 grand. Like, where we would use mastering as mixing to fix things that we were like, oh, that still sounds a little weird, you know? And, you know, I'm sure the mastering girl was really happy about that. But, you know, or just things like putting every song in alphabetical order, and or putting every, you know, putting asterisks on everything, and like all sorts of wacky shit. Like, anytime anybody told us, like, you can't do this, we're like, oh, fine, fuck it, well, then we'll do it to every song on the record. And the other 2 records are recent. No one, you know, we've done so many remixes and re-releases on that I think nobody needs to greatest hits on that. And the same thing with Pink. I think Pink is this interesting thing because it's lost, even though I know where it is. And at some point, I'll put it together with something in a nice little package and put it out.
Okay. All right. Well, as a band with various electronic elements and techno industrial, what are your opinions on dubstep?
It's interesting. I mean, to me, it's the new drum and bass. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, you see, like drum and bass, you would see it, you know, in the clubs, and there'd be like, you know, then all of a sudden it would be like in some cool hip music, you know, and then all of a sudden it would be in fucking cheddar cheese commercials, you know, Kraft macaroni and cheese. Same fucking thing happens with dubstep, you know, except because of social networking, it happens at exactly the same time. There's none of this anymore, it's just this. So like at the same time as Skrillex is doing stuff, it's in a Britney Spears song, it's in a Kraft macaroni and cheese commercial, it's in a fucking soundtrack to like fucking Battleship the movie, you know. But it is, I mean, that's because it's, nobody sounds necessarily better than the other. They're all using the same, just them using the same wobble bass, just like you know, drum and bass was the same, you know, Amen breakbeat loop. I mean, the glitch stuff is interesting. I think you know, it's weird that everybody else thinks that's cool all of a sudden, when we've been doing it since like 1996. People were like, well, what's with all this glitchy fucked up shit, you know? We're like, oh, we like to do glitchy stuff and genre bending, and even the cursing. Like, it's weird to see somebody like CeeLo get a fucking Grammy for fuck you, when like we've said fuck you forever in every song. But it's just weird that that's the mentality now. That's what kids want to see. They want to see electronics, they want to see glitched out funky shit, and they want to see you know, people curse, which I think is very interesting.
All right, well, are there any bands out there that you haven't shared a stage with yet that you really want to, talking about bucket list things?
Bucket list, I'd like to looper our band so that we go back in time and play with us in 1999. I'd like to have the early version of us open for the new version of us, so you have a nice evening of Mindless and Mindless. And so I'd be the Bruce Willis Mindless, and then when we go back, then the Michael Levitt Mindless would be my old Jimmy.
Right. Okay, and do you have a message right into the camera for all your fans and any new fans that you might make tonight?
Yes, I'm going to kill you all in a total pool of blood with, but I'm not going to use any knives. I'm just going to use knives and daggers for my eyes.
Sweet. All right, thank you very much, man.
Thank you.